The atmosphere is changing now for the spirit. Oh my God. Okay. Oh yeah, we're here. Good morning. Good morning, my people. Good morning. The atmosphere is really changing because God, the season is right.
Mhm.
It's working for us. Things are happening in the spiritual realm that you cannot begin to appreciate. That I feel it even with the leaves blowing and the trees going back and forth and everything else. I can see the mightiness of God, and it gives me courage to continue to do what we do now. And there is no going back. As mothers, we are here to ensure that our future generation live this life better than American. Like I know a joke, better than American life, because this one here is still a little bit twisted. There's some things going on in the background that you don't appreciate. We want heaven on earth for our people. That heaven, because they have given us the hell all our lives. We want that heaven to come down and meet our people, and that we shall get. So, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Today is December the 11th, 2021. We are almost few days before Christmas celebration. Wow, wow. God is good. Who would have thought? So we thank God for all our lives, for keeping us till this day, right? Because we hear all kinds of horrific news, especially in that failed state called Nigeria. So we are definitely grateful to be here today. My name is Munachin Saga, and I'll allow my sister to introduce herself.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you, viewers. And my name is Dr. Epi Okube. We appreciate your coming here. Please like, share. For those on YouTube, subscribe. Um, Hit the bell so that when we drop any video, it will alert you. And then your highlight, the good will mark double blue if you have shared. So please keep sharing. You're part of this team. It's a teamwork. We tell our people that what we're doing here is just to meet the information need of our people. The main work is on the ground. And that work, like my sister said, it's going on perfectly well, and we are happy. So will give us food for thought as we move. If bullying is not acceptable at individual levels, then it shouldn't be acceptable at organizational, national, or global level. We can no longer ignore countries and entities that bully other nations into backwardness, underdevelopment, or even go around grabbing their lands. We don't care what you're called. Our ancestors are not the demons holding us down. Do you hear what we said again? Because some of you are afraid of your ancestors, you are afraid of your forefathers and foremothers. Our ancestors are not the demons holding us down. Rather, the colonial masters and their agents currently living in our land and in our midst are the ones bullying us and our children. We need to get it right. We must stop making excuses for our political and religious leaders. It is time to hold them accountable at all levels. Take more videos, take pictures of their evilness. You see, they are fewer in number. We can win this war. We are more. So take their pictures, expose them. If you see something, say and share something. Thank you very much.
Yep. If you see something, say and share and say something, because if not, the devil and his cohorts will continue to do hideous crimes that you can never imagine. The only thing that can show them out there is for people, because it used to be, if you think about it, a long time ago, it was one group of people doing the media reporting, so they only report what they wanted to report. They can even lie against 5 billion people that are being starved and killed. They can say, oh, nothing is happening, they're just dancing in the farmers and headers, what is they call it, farmers and headers clash. They are just clashing as if they're the only one that can report. Thank God for YouTube and Facebook and all the social media platforms. The truth is out there. We are seeing who they are for what they are. We are no longer going to believe, unless if you want to, because some of you are already hooked on Nkpurumiri. So nothing is making sense. But for those of us that are only drinking water, that still have our senses, we know what they're doing and we see them. And we're going to respond appropriately.
Yep.
So the question is that, are you game? Are you with us? Do you understand what you're saying? Do you understand where we're going? Do you understand what we need to get to our final destination? Just like our topic said, demolishing the old order to establish a new one. We have to change this thing around. We have to change it. We have what it takes to turn this around. There's a game changer here on the table. You just have to understand your role in it so that we can move. It's no longer okay for you to sit around and be victimized and cry and feel defeated when there are options on the table to turn this around. And when you take your destiny back into your hands, nobody will take it back from you because you know how hard you fought for it. So we know in our culture, or in any culture, that is a common sense that no one pours new wine into an old wine skin. Otherwise, what will happen? It will expand and burst, and you will lose your wine. So we don't want that to happen, right? So what do we need to do? We need to make sure that the new wine must be put into the new wine skin for both the skin and the wine to be preserved and safe. We know how hard it is to climb up there and get that wine down, right? At least in our culture. So it's not something that you want to mess with. We also know that no one should be putting a new piece of cloth to patch old cloths because we know what will happen again. It will get bigger and bigger and bigger. However, that is what our people love to do. We, the indigenous people trapped in that confirmed hell called Nigeria, we have been patching that failed state for decades and getting a dismal report or result. The hole that we are patching kept bigger right in front of us. The funny aspect is that our so-called ancestors that some of us, castigate, that didn't attend their Western education, they knew this truth. And yet, with all our degrees, with all our endeavors, with all our so-called exposures, we don't know what we're doing. We know that the foundation of Nigeria is built upon false and fraudulent constitution and everything else. So we continue to patch. In our language, we say patch work. When we could get new material, new design, and get the desirable outcome that we are all hoping and wishing for. There's no need to fake it anymore. It's not working. Your fakeness is not working. You pretending like it's not there is not working. We know that the old order is ruined. It's like a child that we came to nurse is dead. They will refuse to accept the reality on ground, and we continue to carry on the rotten cups around, pretending like it's not smelling. But the danger in that is that other people do see that you have a rotten child and it does stink. They are not in your lives. They are not going to continue to pretend like you're pretending that the baby is still alive. Especially when we have options to fix it, when we have options to make it better. You are still in your fetal state. You can try again to give birth instead of slowly killing yourself with the diseases that will eventually come from a dead body. Our so-called leaders are parading around, speaking English, and they're unable to deliver. We know them. If you see them on the channel news, my God, they speak better than the most educated American. They can give it all to you. At the end of the day, they are not able to even save themselves. Talk less of saving you. Some of them are clamoring for election, saying that they will kneel down to get Igbo presidency. When we know that our collective destinies have been hijacked by the few unintelligent bandits, because that's what they are, all of them. According to Gravita, infrastructure cannot be built at the cost of countries' sovereignty. For those of us collecting loans from China to develop Niger or Niger, for those of us collecting loans from China for Buhari to have a domestication fee of $1 trillion to take care of his cows. For anything to make sense, we must retrieve our sovereignty first. What did I say? For anything. If anybody wants to help us, we don't want to hear their English-speaking languages anymore. We don't want to hear their presentations anymore. If any of them want us to take them seriously, we must retrieve our sovereignty first. According to Acts 17:30, it says, in the time of ignorance, and we even added people, overlook things. But we are saying that we command all people everywhere to repent today because it's time for the world to be judged. Do you want to be caught on a camera sticking your hand in the pot of soup? A grown man? We know that will not look good. The old order of African leaders enslaving Africans, rather than serving them, need to be demolished. But our people need to understand what we need to do. I know there is hunger in the land. We're too hungry, but you're going to die either way, right? So why don't you die, at least delivering the future for your children? The old order of practicing the type of religion that instill fears in people in order to manipulate and trap them needs to go down. Every one of them. Those giving money to celebrities when it's time for treatment and then telling the poor people to come and do a barakata in front of them. It's just a joke. The old order where we cultivate cash crop for the colonial masters while we abandon food crops that will feed our children that are starving need to go down as soon as possible. The good news is that we have to give our colonizers credit. They have buku information out there for us to see that Megan, that you're, if not if best the same, that you're a much, much better person. But we need to understand, accept this truth, this reality, and extricate ourselves from this. Nobody will stop us from declaring constitutional force majeure, which you guys have witnessed. Nobody will stop us from taking our sovereignty back. Because after all, Idi Amin, with in all his wickedness, he was a head of a sovereign state, right? They watched him for 8 years, massacre 8 million, how many millions of people? They didn't come and rescue them because he has a sovereignty within that nation. So we can no longer sit aside and watch while somebody play with our future, because that's what they're doing. If any barakatam happens like this now, hateful, they will disappear. Oh, I know they're all coming down for Christmas season, right? Because their homes are all over the place, waiting for them to return to. It's heartbreaking. But like I said, people are telling us who they are. We just need to get ourselves together and move up, move out of this dungeon that we find ourselves. Sister, please go ahead.
Thank you, my sister. This is the time for us to do what we need to do. So, like we said before, please share, like, subscribe. Let's bring other people into this discussion. You see, what we do here every Saturday is to meet the information need of our people. Men are at home, men and women are at home working, people on ground working. And if you want to join this work, please send us information to our phone, our direct messages, messenger, through anything. Contact us. Give us your name, your block, the block you're coming from. By block, we have underliners. We have Southwest Block, the Yorubas. We have Middle Belt. We have Lower Niger, and by Lower Niger we mean the old Midwestern region and the Eastern region. So tell us where your block is, and then also your gender, because we are also doing something special with women. Because our women, like we said, part of what they did was hold our women down for the longest time. So our women have not been part of anything. They always make it very difficult for our women to be part of it. Either by getting to the National Assembly, they're fighting, throwing chairs, throwing bottles, throwing wood. Which woman wants her face to be scarred? So they scare our women from all these things. And we are encouraging our women. So send us your name, your block, your gender, so that we'll put you, because we have different groups on the ground working. There's so much work to do, many things to do, and we want you to be part of it. And also, one of our fans is looking for Colonel Boulier. It's one of our veterans. We understand he now probably lives in US or is visiting US. So please, if you have that information, send us not use this number, we can see the number on the screen displayed, 1 +1 774 338 0942. Send information to us. So the first video we're going to play today is to show you that truth is coming out. We are given, people are beginning to see who the true savages are. So please join us as we move. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Mona.
Let's see.
Is it from the beginning?
I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, can we start from the beginning so that I think it should be the beginning, and then we'll stop at maybe 4:45. So we'll see, because like we said, the world is being judged because nothing is hiding, nothing is hidden anymore. Those things people have been doing and hiding, they're coming out. And when it comes out, everybody's seeing it. So it's not a time when you lie to the American community or lie to the British community, to the individuals, to the people, while you hide inside somewhere doing all the nonsense you're doing with your systems. So these things are becoming open and everyone is talking about it. And this is why we come here. We don't want our people to be left out of the discussion. We come here every Saturday so that we let you know what is happening. So you hear it with your own ears and be part of the discussion. It's a global discussion. So be on the table of discussion. Stop running up and down inside bush with machetes and bottles. It's time for discussion.
Torrance, California. In fact, the messages are so awful that there is now a full-blown investigation into the police department by California's Attorney General. We'll give you details on that in just a second, but you must be wondering, well, how bad were they? What was included in these text messages? Was it innuendo? No, it was pretty brazen. The caption read, okay, so in one picture that was exchanged in these messages, there were several Black men who were depicted as being lynched. Okay, so we're already talking about some pretty hideous behavior. And the caption read, "Hanging with the homies." Another photo asked what someone should do if their girlfriend.
Jack Reacher, Special Investigations Unit.
You just go wherever you want, whenever you want?
No, we'll cover this whole operation. We're ready to the ground.
Was having an affair with a Black man? The answer, according to the caption, was to break a taillight on his car so the police will stop him and shoot him. They're not holding back at all.
You know, cops seem to understand cops, at least.
They're sharing these text messages with one another. Like, it is being documented. Okay, so there's evidence of this. It just keeps getting worse. Officers called Black men savages and several variations of the N-word. The officers also shared instructions on how to tie a noose and a picture of a stuffed animal being lynched inside Torrance's police headquarters, according to the documents. You know, the word savages reminded me of a pretty epic rant that Cenk went on fairly recently on the show. And I want to reshare that rant with you because it's important to remind people who the real savages are.
When they attack Black people after they've been murdered, when they did absolutely nothing wrong, you're pushing us to the limit. And what do I mean by that? You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people, they lynched people, they raped people, they enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. And so don't you dare call a Black man a savage after you murdered him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not
Tell
by
them, brother, tell
For
them.
God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't, but if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers in the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages.
So John,
Actually, I think I'll talk right now.
okay. Actually, you should.
No, everything he was saying was really good.
Yeah.
But I did notice that, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, it was
Damn.
great points, indisputable points.
Who's salty today? Is it me or is it you?
I'm trying to take a little bit of the salt.
All
No,
right, you took a little
indisputable
too much.
points. Totally true. I mean, the only thing I guess to add is that
All right, so we'll end it there. We can post this video at its entirety in our Facebook page. The good news is that it's coming from them, because sometimes people are not even comfortable to say that.
Yeah.
People that the violence have been perpetrated against will never be able to bold enough to say that. But our brother here is doing the good work. Good men and women are rising up to
Yes.
do the right thing. That's what is
Yes.
going on.
That
They
is
are not protecting anyone. They are protecting goodness and mercy.
exactly.
And they will speak up.
Mhm.
Go ahead, sister.
Yeah, they will speak up, because like we said, as Dr. Muna said at the beginning of this, that in a time of ignorance, people and God overlooked. People did not know. I'm telling you, most of the things that they did against Africans, the Americans, the everyday American people are not aware.
We are not.
They lie through their media to them. So they don't even know from beginning, from the time they told you that Mary Slessor stopped the killing of twins. They have been lying since that time till today. They lie to the people. Oh, Africans are savages. That's why we stole their people. To save them from, that's why we are saving them. So they've been lying. And we are saying, no more lies. We are here to expose and bring out truths. And more people are in this. Because like someone has said, it's preserving the goodness of humanity. They have lied and deceived and done their evil so much that the world is about to destroy itself by herself.
Mm-hmm.
So it is something that is affecting everyone. The terrorism they grew in Africa, the terrorism they grew in Nigeria is about to explode and become global terrorism. So it's affecting everyone. So they are waking up. So the next video we're going to play, you see what happened in Solomon Island, where the people, because we're talking about the people. That's why we come here. We're here for the people. We're not here for politicians. We're not here for their bed partners, the religious leaders that have been stealing with them and lying to us. We are here for the people. So the people, they gave a pushback to China. Because China is going up and down, stealing people's things, doing all the things they're doing, interfering with local politics, bribing their politicians to do what they're doing. So the people gave them a pushback. That's what we're saying. That in this day, we are not going to take certain things anymore. But there is a way that it has to be done. Not like the one guy that was ranting on the radio, Ojon Webuoji. We're not talking of that type of pushback. We're talking about intelligent pushback. We work together in a particular order so that when we do things, we get desirable outcome, the outcome we want. It's just like when women are giving birth. If you don't guide the delivery, the child can just come out and tear everything and come out. So you guide what you're doing. It has to be guided in a particular way. The study has to be measured. The labor, the contract, so many things have to be measured and guided. Somebody is there watching you so that the child will come out safe and the mother will be safe as well. So please watch what is going on here, how the people are giving a pushback. We're not saying it's right or wrong. We're just reporting this to you for you to understand that will be rising when proper things are not done. Go ahead, Sister Mona, please.
Leaders take an oath to serve their citizens all over the world. But what happens when the same leaders become pawns for a foreign power? The citizens suffer, the country is cheated, and national interest is compromised. And this invariably leads to a pushback. This is what it looks like. is the capital of the Solomon Islands, Honiara. 3 days ago, anti-government protests erupted here. These are violent protests, as you can see. A building next to the parliament was set on fire. A police station was torched. Shops were looted. Within hours, the city turned into a war zone. Now, for those of you who are wondering why this small island nation is our cover story tonight, I will explain. These riots in the Solomon Islands did not erupt due to domestic factors. They happened because of China. Because of Beijing's growing influence/interference. Chinese cash is said to have triggered these riots, and I'm not talking about Chinese investments here, I'm talking about Chinese bribes. The money China reportedly paid to buy influence in the Solomon Islands. Influence for what? To get this country to dump Taiwan. The Solomon Islands broke diplomatic ties with Taiwan and switched allegiances to China. This one move has divided the country. Why should you care? Because the next country on this list could be yours. China has reportedly bribed politicians to dictate government policy. Today, it is the Solomon Islands. Tomorrow, it could be any other country. On Gravitas tonight, we'll tell you how China's bribes led to a riot and how this move has backfired for Beijing. Let's begin with what's happening in the Solomon Islands. No new incidents of violence or arson have been reported today, but there's an uneasy calm on the streets. Public anger is simmering, and the fury is directed at one man. Manasseh Sogavare, the Prime Minister of the Solomon Islands. He's the man who made the switch happen, the switch from Taiwan to China. For the protesters, he is enemy number one right now. They targeted Sogavare's compound. They could not get to his residence, so they decided to go after a building that the Prime Minister owns. It was set on fire. That is the extent of the public anger. These images tell the story. Sogavare is facing the wrath of the citizens, and it's not just because of his China policy. The list of complaints is rather long, we're told. Lack of government services and accountability, corruption, the influx of foreign workers. All of this has led to this anger. The Prime Minister is on the back foot. The protesters want him to step down. He says he won't. He blames the classic foreign hand. He says protesters have been influenced by foreign powers. Here is a quote. This is what he says. External pressures were a very big influence. I don't want to name names. We'll leave it there. I'm not going to bow down to anyone. We are intact. The government is intact, and we're going to defend democracy. Prime Minister Sogavare is right. There is foreign meddling in the Solomon Islands, but it's not the protesters who are being influenced, it is the politicians. The Solomon Islands established diplomatic ties with Beijing in the year 2019. When the switch happened from Taipei to Beijing, Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs made a revelation. It said that China was bribing politicians in the Solomon Islands to abandon Taipei. And that claim was confirmed by a politician himself in this country. A provincial leader spoke out in 2019. His name is Daniel Suidani. He is the premier of Maliata. this province is at the forefront of the protests that are happening right now. Citizens from Maliata marched to the capital, Honiara, to protest. 2 years back, China tried to buy some influence there too, in the province. Sudani says that he was approached by someone from the Chinese government. He was offered cash. He refused the money, also refused to vote in favor of dumping Taiwan. 2 years later, he was made to pay for that decision. This lawmaker apparently needed funds for a brain surgery. An appeal was made to Prime Minister Sogavare. The request was turned down. Allow me to quote what Sudani has said. What happened in terms of the switch is not clear, but there is something going on between China and the Solomons that makes them switch without consulting with the people of the nation. Something was indeed fishy then. 2 years later, the picture has become clearer. Despite massive public opposition, Beijing is unrelenting in its support for Prime Minister Sogavare. Listen to this.
China pays close attention to the current developments in the Solomon Islands and condemns the violent acts that have caused serious damage and property losses. China supports Solomon government's efforts to stop violence and chaos. We believe that under the leadership of Prime Minister Sogavare, the Solomon government can restore order and stabilize the internal situation as soon as possible. China is taking all necessary measures to safeguard the safety and legitimate rights and interests of Chinese citizens and institutions in the Solomon Islands.
So in 2 days, Beijing has released 2 statements supporting the Prime Minister. But this situation is out of its control. Chinese citizens and businesses are under attack in the Solomon Islands. More than 100 shops owned by the Chinese have been destroyed. According to the Global Times, some shop owners are quote unquote hiding in the hills. The Chinese embassy asks its nationals to not go out. China has offered support to Prime Minister Sogavare, but taking help from Beijing would be a suicidal move at this point. So he's turned to Australia. In 2017, Australia and the Solomon Islands signed a bilateral treaty. It allows rapid deployment of Australian police and defense personnel to the islands if there is an emergency. Around 100 Australian troops arrived overnight. They restored peace, albeit a tenuous one.
We are there to support the Solomon Islands police, Royal Solomon Islands police force, to quell any unrest that is there and hopefully see the situation return to some calm. Overnight, we have seen what started as a protest. We have seen some more indiscriminate looting and things of that nature, which is a more general civil unrest. And
okay, do you guys see what is going on here, right? So you see corruption going on in a country. You didn't show up to stop the corruption that will affect millions of people in the island. But when people are protesting because their right has been trampled upon, you have to now come and police. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, my sister. This is what they always do. We say it now all the time. It's the same thing they did in Nigeria, in Sudan, in Gambia, in any country. That's their modus operandi. It is. So check it. That's what they do. They will not come when the people are dying. all the evil they're doing, when it's going on, they will not come. But they will only come when the people are not giving a pushback. As they will come. Are we finishing this video?
Yes.
Okay. So we want to look at Singapore. Because our people have been like, oh, we are so defeated, we can't do this, we have to do that. And like we keep telling you, what is happening in your land is not new. It has happened in other people's lands. All we can do is to learn from them. Like Samuna will always say, copy and paste. It's not that difficult. Go and see what they did to them and see how they rose from the bondage of Britain. Singapore is a good example. You are seeing that you people are traveling to Singapore, you're seeing everything happening there, but you did not know what it was. It was worse than our place. In terms of culture, in terms of so many things, in terms of lack, they didn't even have resources. Nothing. They rose from the ashes. And today, see what they have. So this is their present that helped them to do that job. We are bringing the work for you. We're going to be playing. It's a long video, so please be patient with us. But we'll break it from time to time and interject so that you will hear. It's not that we cannot tell you the story, but we want you to hear from the horse's mouth, as they will say. Hear from them. So it's not he say, she say. You don't need this thing that you're running up and down inside bush with pieces of metals, looking for say, we are about to send missile. I wonder who you're sending missile with your pieces of metal that you brought and painted red, blue, black, green. Please stop this. This is 21st century. We need more brain. And that's why we're calling our women to wake up. In the time past, women could not participate because it's boost gas, boost gas, boost gas. But today, by the grace of God, it has been brought to the table of negotiations, dialogue, brain work. So you don't need all this intimidation and trying to scare people, cutting people's head and putting on the table. You are not a salvage. You're not, that's not who we are. That's not who we are. Do not become what you're trying to correct. We are people that talk. That's why in Igbo culture, for instance, we have a lot of proverbs. These are coded words. When we give you one proverb, you can go home with it. That proverb is enough. It's like 2 pages of essay. Because when you think about it and the implications of the proverb that your father or your mother gave you, you will get all the solution, all the answers that you are looking for inside it. This is who we are. We talk, we negotiate. This is who we are. We don't go around running up and down inside bush looking for whose head to cut. We are not like that. Please stop. So listen to this. We will come in from time to time. Thank you, Sister Mona. Thank you, our viewers.
Is a very fitting person to be the first Collins family lecturer. When he became Prime Minister of Singapore, it was a relatively poor place. There was some danger of ethnic turmoil, and there had been riots. Today, it is a rich and prosperous country. And if the rest of the world could accomplish what Singapore has accomplished, the world would be a better, more prosperous place. Lee Kuan Yew started his education at Raffles College in Singapore, and then went on to Cambridge University, and then to the Middle Temple, became a barrister at law, returning to Singapore in 1950, practicing law. In 1954, he became Secretary General of the People's Action Party, and in 1956 to 58, he negotiated Singaporean independence from the British. In 1959, he was sworn in as Prime Minister of Singapore. During his time as Prime Minister, he built the finest infrastructure, airport, ports, roads, and communications network in the region. He established a public housing system based on a provident fund savings pool that has given every Singaporean citizen a tangible stake in the system. And he has developed one of Asia's best health, and education systems. In 1990, he stepped down as prime minister and became a senior minister in the government. Indeed, he kept thinking about the future of Singapore and looking forward. And among his many efforts, as he described recently in a BBC interview, was to learn at age 70 about the internet and to help his country become the most wired state in Asia. He is a man who never stops thinking, never stops looking ahead, larger visions. His views are sought by respected senior statesmen on all continents, and he has written.
All right. So we allow this part of the video to play only because we want you, at least from my standpoint, we want you guys to see what people are doing with the education, with the Western education that they have received. They actually use it to uplift their people. They actually use it to bring change. They actually use it to get up there with their colonial masters and reach down towards their people and put them up. What did we do with ours? We use it to speak dead English that is not even alive anymore in the encyclopedia. We use it to intimidate our people. We use it to make fun of those that can't speak English very well as if it's their mother's tongue. We use it to get up to political states only for us to know that we are not competent enough to do the work. But because we are the only one that can speak English and use it to subjugate our people, we are sitting in that post knowing that we cannot give what we don't have. And this thing has been ongoing for years, especially in Africa, where you go to Western, get your Western education, come back, and all you do is to speak English and wear coats and wear coats. Are we talking about our people that
Sister Muna,
portfolio? They like to carry portfolio, right?
Yeah.
So if you remember those people, if every one of us remember one person that your village collected money for and sent to overseas, tell me any of them that came back and did anything right in that village. Either they went mental or they will start playing drafts at the market junction. Or they will leave town. They will leave all the town where they can get one, come and settle in the village.
Yes.
You will see hardly every one of them. None. And then the one that did go to town started hanging, becoming the internal colonizers.
Yes.
That will continue to hold.
And they'll be calling them professor.
And they were calling them professor.
What are you professing? You can't do any project. You can't do any research. You can't publish any article. Nothing that we have changed in your environment. The people that contributed money to send you to go and acquire that knowledge. What difference have you made? Professor my foot.
They can't even read written words.
No.
They will be following constitutional force majeure. They have not read. They will sit there. Somebody will deceive them just by wearing wig and speaking like an American.
Yes.
They will misrule.
You have followed Tony Nnadi for 20 years. Yet you don't know what Tony Nnadi is saying. You cannot even comprehend what, and you call yourself a professor. All the materials he gave to you, you did not read any. You don't understand them. Yet you're telling our people that have been following Tony Nnadi for 20 years. You don't know what he stands for. You don't know what he's pushing for. You don't know all the things he's doing. The simple document he gave you have not read. And you call yourself a professor. How do you become a professor? I thought professors should read documents, understand and teach others. If you know that you're a professor, you have not read the document, who will teach my people? That is why we come here every Saturday, because we read the documents. We stumble into it and say, wow, this proposition is wonderful. This is what we need. And we take it upon ourselves to come here every Saturday to break it down to our people. What have you done, Professor? What have you done, Doctor? What have you done with the education that my people sponsored you to go and receive? What have you done with it? You now become an internal colonizer. You go to Abuja, between meeting, first Prime Minister, I'll be First Minister of the Republic of Nigeria. What did you do? You continue to subjugate us. And then to make matter worse, you go and beg uncircumcised Philistines and tell them that you will kneel down for you to get presidency. To do what without presidency? In a sea of with it. Are you going to cook soup with the presidency? We told you that 1999 Constitution is the culprit here. This is what has held us down. Let's bring it down. No, no, no. You prefer to go and kneel down because it's about your stomach. You kneel down so they will give you money. Beggy, Babi Allah. That's what you want to become. And we said all of you should clear from our way. We are here to do the needful to get freedom for our people. As if matter is not bad enough. Some people that say they are doing Biafra, they now want to go and form APC political party. We've told you people, stop all these lies and manipulations. We are smarter than you. Yes, we are. Before you fly, we know where you're going to land. We already see you. We've warned you severally. You were with Eperima, Ojon Eboji. We continue to shout here. You came out. You said Nekuzo, see road. You don't follow your road. No, you enter another bush road. Enter, this one is not political suicide. You now enter another evil forest in the name of deceiving my people. All just to deceive my people because they don't know any better. You speak English, my people will think that you actually know what you're saying. My heart is breaking. My heart is breaking. My brothers, how long are we going to talk to you before you develop sense? Please go ahead. Let me just stop it here because my heart is breaking. My heart is breaking. My heart is breaking. It's not fair. It is not fair at all. It's not fair. It's not fair.
I'm familiar with most of the first generation of anti-colonial leaders to which I belong. They all had strong nationalist, anti-colonial convictions and wanted to prove that their people or their peoples could measure up to their former rulers. Unhappily, many third world leaders who had successfully demolished the old order failed to build a new one.
That's what they do.
Because building a new order demanded different and more complex capabilities.
Yep.
Decision making in economics to achieve the highest returns on capital was not their forte.
Nope.
They
He's
could enthuse
sleeping
their
with 20 women at the same time
to keep up the fight against the old regime. And they had oversimplified what needed to be done after the colonizers had handed over power. Many leaders actually believed their own rhetoric, that once they were rid of their exploiters, there would be wealth aplenty to go around. And the economic models that they admired were socialist. Why did these leaders follow the wrong model? Were they ignorant?
Yep.
On the contrary, many like Michael Manley, the late Prime Minister of Jamaica, they were highly intelligent, and he was a graduate of a distinguished institution.
Don't let that fool
the
you.
London School of Economics.
Anamano.
But they admired the early independence heroes, Nehru, Sukarno, Mao Zedong, Tito. None of these early freedom fighters believed that wealth was something that had to be created by entrepreneurs, people who raised capital, organized workers to produce goods and services that others wanted and would pay for because their prices were competitive.
It's a no-brainer. They're just not
They
smart.
all believed that there were shortcuts to prosperity, and they thought the best way was by state intervention. This was a mistake that otherwise well-intentioned leaders like Julius Nyerere of Tanzania made. He was a good, honest Christian, but held doctrinary ideas on how to modernize Tanzania. His policies were ill-suited for a small-scale African agricultural economy. And both Julius Nyerere and Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia failed to develop their economies. On the other hand, Jomo Kenyatta and his successor, Daniel Arap Moi of Kenya, made their country more prosperous in spite of considerable corruption. What was the difference? It lay in the interventionist state policies of the first two compared to the free market policies of Kenya. I've been asked time and again How was it that my colleagues and I avoided falling into this trap?
Uh-oh. Sister, go ahead. Go ahead. Let me fix this.
So, my people, you can hear, because like we said, like Stamina said at the beginning, you are carrying a dead child that is rotten, and you are deceiving yourself that this child is alive. But your neighbors are saying that your child is dead and is smelling.
Hello.
You're not getting the expected result, yes, because either you are ignorant or you're criminal in mind. If you're ignorant, then get people that know. But no, it's mainly corruption. You want to cheat your people. You want to kill your people. You want to destroy your people. You're not getting the results that you know we should get. But you're not stepping aside to bring in people that know what to be done, so that it will be done and they will get the expected result. You make it look as if it's impossible to actually lead the people, as if it's impossible to develop Africa. It is not impossible. We've had people leading us. That's what it is. We'll say it again. It is not impossible to develop Nigeria. We've had stupid people leading us. And we said, enough of all this nonsense. Enough of all this. Get out of the way. Let's get this fixed. And we said, in fixing things, we go to the foundation. We cannot continue to build on a faulty foundation. We have said it time with that number. Listen to people that develop their land and they learn one or two things. Thank you very much.
Before I answer this question, let me start by explaining how I became politicized. The first turning point of my life was World War II. The way the British was routed by the Japanese. Before the war broke out, our British rulers feared that the Asians would panic if bombs and shells fell upon them. When the bombs and shells actually came, it was the British bosses who were shocked and packed their families off. The Chinese, Indian, and Malay subjects stoically bore their sufferings. That aura of overwhelming superiority with which the British held us in thrall was broken, never to be restored. Another turning point was the experience of the brutality and cruelty of our Japanese conquerors. They had portrayed themselves as liberators of fellow Asians from the white man, but they left us in no doubt that they were the new masters of the so-called Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. And to punish the Chinese in Singapore for supporting the nationalist government of China with donations to fight Japanese aggression, within the first 15 days of their conquest of Singapore, they picked off at random 50,000 to 100,000 Chinese youths out of concentration centers and machine gunned them on the beaches. I had first-hand experience of Japanese militarism when a Japanese platoon was decided to build themselves in my home. My family had fled to the countryside, and it was 4 days of hell. I was roughed up, slapped, made to kneel down by a sentry, kicked in the chest, sent sprawling because I did not know that I had to bow to him to cross the bridge. I felt that the dark ages had descended upon us. And I watched 80,000 dejected British, Indian, and Australian troops march into captivity in 48 hours. Many of my friends shared this harrowing experience. We asked ourselves, why? What right had the Japanese to do this to us? Why did the British not fight the Japanese more ferociously?
They came to steal, brother.
And when the British came back after 3.5 years, after the bombs in Nagasaki, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the communists who had organized the resistance in the jungles of Malaya attempted to grab power Japanese as theirs as of right. But I feared them as much as I feared the Japanese. As a result, many nationalists like me were born. After the war, my contemporaries and I gathered in London. We were studying in various universities in England, and there was ferment in the air. India had got its independence in 47. So had Pakistan, Burma, Ceylon. Why not Malaya, which then included Singapore? The British cut off Singapore from Malaya as they prepared to give independence to the Malays in Malaya. They wanted to keep Singapore as one link in a chain of naval bases from Portsmouth to Gibraltar, to Suez, to Aden, to Singapore, to Sydney. But after the British lost Suez in 1956, they agreed to let us rejoin Malaya. By then it was too late. The Malay majority was not prepared to treat the Chinese, Indian, and other ethnic groups as equal citizens. And they became as numerous as the Malays.
Go ahead, Sister Queen.
People, when you listen to this man, does it not sound familiar? Everything he's saying here is what we've been through. It's as if he took page from my land and repeating it, which is why we tell you that what we're going through is not new. So if it's not new, why can't we sit down and do what others did to get the type of result we want? Why are we jumping around this forest like we don't have brains? He said, failure to develop the economy. Have you developed the economy in Nigeria? Do you even have plan to develop it? There's no plan. So you don't expect to get development. You don't expect to get infrastructure. You don't expect to get anything because the people that are driving your vehicle don't even know how to drive a car.
They don't have a license.
They don't even have a license. They don't know how to start a car, let alone drive it. So why do you expect to be doing the wrong thing and expect to get the right result? We need to understand our uniqueness. We need to understand who we are. Then target the weakness of the enemy, which is what we are doing through Ninas. That is a movement. We came together. They have a structure already, 16 boxes. How many people have gone through it?
They're waiting for the Americana with wig to tell them to go left and right. They don't know how to win.
I will tell you that if you can actually go through this thing, it's common sense. You will understand it. You will run with it.
So annoying.
And stop deceiving yourselves. In the name of freedom fighting, you do things that embarrass us. We listen to you, you do not make sense. You're making sense to yourself because you're stupid. Yeah, sorry, you are. That's why what you're saying is making sense to you because you don't know any better. Listen to people like this, then you begin to understand where Ninas is going, where LNC Ninas is going. And we're here to give you that orientation that you need so that you'll be able to be part of what is going on. Listen to them. It's as if, when I heard this man, it's as if he came and studied the Ninas and LNC book. This is the pattern. This is the path we want to take our people through the rebirth. Take our people through this pathway to get to where we're going. And there's no shortcuts. Anybody telling you there's a shortcut wants to deceive you, cheat you, collect your money, and that's the end. They will all die. They will kill them. There's no shortcut. It took this man 40 years of doing the right thing to turn the brain of their people to get the result that is needed. But you know what? It's not 40 years of trying and failing. It's not 40 years of doing stupid things. It's 40 years of sitting down and following the step one by one through a process. That's what we need. And that is what is on table. That is what Ninas has presented for us, for all Nigerians, and indeed all Africans. We studied these things, we looked at this proposal, we say, if we can go through this proposal, we're even going to be fast, because honestly, from what he said, our people are even ahead of where they started. So we will not go through 40 years, get to where we're going. But you know what? We have to be on the pathway. You cannot be inside forest, dancing around in the forest and expecting that one day you jump out to where you're going. Things do not happen that way. You must follow process. And my people, listen to us. Anybody coming to you, promising you freedom, promising you anything, tell them to give you the proposal on the table. Bring the proposal, let's see it. And then you read it by yourself and see that it's nothing.
My dad, they can't even articulate a proposal, let alone run it. But please, it's all about Facebook, proposal on Facebook. That's it. Talk. They don't know how to deliver. So they can continue to take us in the wilderness for another 1 million years as if we are brainless. No, if you guys went to school, you don't know how to use your degree. I know how to use my degree. Don't get it twisted.
Simple.
Okay? I didn't go there to learn the English. I went there to learn the strategies and the protocols that will help me deliver results.
Simple.
What were my motivations? First, to get rid of colonialism and be independent.
Simple.
This got us involved in a fight against the communists, who were well ahead of us in the struggle against the British. Later, we rejoined Malaya and had to fight the Malay extremists who wanted to dominate other ethnic groups in Malaysia. As a result, in less than 2 years of federation, Singapore was asked to leave. And we had to agree, because the alternative was bloodshed, which the Malaysian Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman warned us. So suddenly, in August 1965, we had to create a nation out of a motley collection of Chinese, Indians, Malays, and others who had come to Singapore to seek a better life, but not to be a nation. How did we escape choosing the wrong model? Well, we were helped by the examples of failed policies in many new countries. India, Pakistan, Ceylon, Burma, and Indonesia had gained their independence in the 1940s. Ghana and Nigeria in the 1950s. By 1965, they were not thriving. India's Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru had imbibed socialist theories from his generation of British philosophers, economists, and political scientists when he was a student at Cambridge. A powerful factor then was the example of the British under Clement Attlee, whose Labour government had set out to equalize opportunities and results. Their policies led to the nationalization of key industries: iron and coal, steel mills, petrochemicals, synthetic fiber plants, all became state enterprises. So did the railways, the buses, and all manner of transportation. For more than 4 decades, India made the same car. In 1950, Morris Oxford, in a state-run factory. They called it the Hindustan. No one checked the bottom line for rates of return on capital. Profit was a dirty word associated with the capitalists. Now let me confess that in my student days up at Cambridge in the 1940s after World War II, I was convinced that Britain's welfare state was the highest form of civilized society. And in my teen years, I was a great admirer of Pandit Nehru. But I could see that he had adopted the wrong model by the 1960s. that he had set India on the path of a planned economy with concentration on heavy industries, and his successors carried on with these policies until Prime Minister Narasimha Rao began to change course late in the mid-1990s. But there was another compelling reason for pragmatic solutions. In 1965, when we became independent, Indonesia under President Sukarno, a great orator, was waging an undeclared war, low intensity, which he called konfrontasi, an Indonesian word for confrontation, against Singapore and Malaysia. And in Malaysia, the Tunku, the Prime Minister, wanted to bypass Singapore as Malaysia's commercial outlet. We could not afford to risk our future on theories. We had a daunting task to create a new economy, not one so dependent on entrepot trade with our neighbors. And independence brought worries for our future, not euphoria. We were no longer the commercial, administrative, or military center of the British Empire in Southeast Asia. The British were departing. The odds were against our survival, and we had to ensure our own existence, which we had previously taken for granted. Our first preoccupation for survival, which meant economic viability, had to be solved. Next, security. I cast around for solutions. We reached out first to Hong Kong and Taiwan investors in textiles, garments, plastics, and low value-added products. Later, a UNDP expert working in Singapore described to me how Israel had leapfrogged its neighbors who boycotted them, and exported to Europe and America fruits, flowers, many other things. I thought to myself, why not seek links with the developed countries? Get industrial investments from Europe, Japan, and America. They came, but far and few between. Then, fortuitously, China went into a convulsion of the Cultural Revolution, and it reached a crescendo in 1967. So computer companies like Texas Instruments, Hewlett-Packard, National Semiconductors, they passed over Taiwan and Hong Kong, and we attracted them to Singapore. We had political stability, industrial peace, plus English as our working language, pull factors. 20 years later, we had become a major manufacturer of electronics, computers, and disk drives. The leapfrog strategy succeeded. I worked out another strategy, the other side of the coin. That was to create or to turn Singapore, a third world island, into a first world oasis in a third world region, so that entrepreneurs and their families from the first world would base themselves in Singapore whilst they explored the region. So we established up-to-date facilities in communications and transportation, airport, container port, state-of-the-art telecoms and security, personal and public security, health standards to approximate first world, and a living environment equal to the first world. Later, we improved our cultural facilities, museums, symphony orchestras, visiting artists. The hardware part was easy. Getting people to change their habits to match first world infrastructure that they now had, that was difficult, slow and painful. We made progress. a series of campaigns involving the whole population.
Yep.
More courtesy, stop spitting, keep public laboratories clean, not a minor item if you want a tourist trade to prosper. And no chewing gum if you don't want your train doors not to close. And no litter. And no pickpockets. One rewarding decision was to green up the island with trees, palms, shrubs, creepers, flowers, to make Singapore different. We had rain all year round, sunshine. All we needed to do was to plant them and trim them. And we involved the whole population in planting and caring for them. And we made progress. And slowly our people are now acting more like a first world civic society, although there's a long way to go. They still have their telephones buzzing in concerts. We had to do a U-turn to carry our people with us, or we would fail.
You have to.
In place of constant strife and agitation, we had to convince workers and their union leaders that unless we had industrial peace and worker cooperation with management to improve productivity, we would be overwhelmed by our unemployment. The history of Singapore after independence was one hard, long slog to make ourselves relevant and useful to the world, to add value to both foreign investments that we sought and those that we ourselves made with our savings. Our next major task was to establish security, which had to be based on social cohesion of our many races, religions, languages, and cultures. All successor governments of colonial regimes have inherited this problem of multi-tribal, multilingual, multi-religious, multicultural.
That's what they do. Shikota people on.
How to achieve it? Because without a cohesive people at peace with each other, development was not possible. Our solution to the problem of a young nation was a policy of deliberate gradualism in all matters which involved race, language, culture, and religion. We have 77% Chinese, but from different parts of China speaking different and mutually unintelligible dialects. 14% Malay Muslims from different parts of Malaysia and Indonesia. 8% Indians from different parts of India, speaking totally different languages. The rest from Europe and other parts of Asia. We needed a common language. Had we legislated for one, there would have been trouble. Which one? So we encouraged everyone to learn two languages, English and the mother tongue. English is no group's mother tongue, so no one gained any advantage. And we made it our working language. We have not forced or pressure-cooked a national identity. We have refrained from suppressing ethnic cultures, languages, religions, or their sense of separate identity. We aimed for integration, not assimilation.
Integration.
Another
assimilation.
Critical decision I made within a year of independence was to build a national service armed force. If we did not have the ability to defend ourselves, nobody, not even our own people, would have faith in our future. Foreign and UN intervention would always come too late.
Yep.
We studied the Swiss, the Swedes, and the Israelis. The Israelis offered help to build a system for a totally national service armed force. We now have a credible defense capability. To produce results, we need a clean government with an effective civil service.
Yep.
And we had to shape the administration to produce an effective instrument of policy. This required strong, fair, and just leaders with a moral strength to command the respect of the people. Unity in the core group of leaders ensured that we sent clear signals to our people and avoided confusion that would have arisen if the team had bickered and split. Leaders must have that sense of being trustees, that they are only temporarily in charge of the destinies of their people, and that their duty is not only to discharge this trust, but also to pass it on to equally trustworthy and competent hands. So luxurious living while our people were left in poverty and backwardness was out. We ensured complete accountability and open separateness between personal assets and public funds.
Yep.
Corruption, which has been a cancer in many societies, had to be eradicated and constantly kept down. A government voted into office needs an efficient, honest administration staffed by officers recruited completely on merit by a politically neutral body. We had an impartial, capable public service commission with a chairman and members who were shrewd at assessing character. Promotions and rewards of scholarships must be made to the best candidates.
Yep.
And they have to share nation-building philosophy and the development goals of the political leaders. They must also be adequately paid so that temptations would not be too difficult to resist. Once a political system has been corrupted, right from the top, from the very top, to the lowest rungs of the bureaucracy, the problem is almost impossible to solve without a revolution. The cleansing and disinfecting has to start from the top and go downwards in a thorough and systematic way. It was a long and laborious process that can be carried out only by a very strong group of leaders with the courage and the moral authority derived from unquestioned integrity.
Yep.
We just managed it and stopped it before it got out of control. Next, we decided that the people should be stakeholders. Soon after separation, I resolved to enable every household to own their own home. If you're going to get the people to take national service seriously, I could not ask other people's sons to fight and die for the properties of the wealthy. So we worked out a personal savings scheme that allowed them to own an apartment painlessly through installments over 20 years. Today, 95% of Singaporean households are homeowners. Their value between 100,000 US to 400,000 US, between a 3-room to a 5-room apartment. Without this home ownership, we would have become like Tokyo, Seoul, or Hong Kong, where the voters in the city are disaffected when they have to pay a large proportion of their salaries in rents. In Singapore, they have voted for the return of the government in 9 successive general elections. They know who will keep the property values of their homes up. Policies must be pragmatic, not dogmatic. I learned early to ignore political correctness and to reject conventional wisdom when it did not accord with reality.
You can say that again.
For example, in the 1960s and 70s, it was politically correct to be anti-American and anti-multinationals. The theory expounded by Latin Americans like Raul Prevesh was that multinationals would reduce them to dependencia. We did not accept this. And we assiduously courted the MNCs. They had the capital, the technology, the know-how, and the markets. We decided it was the fastest way of learning on the job, working for them and with them. Now, I believe it would be equally mistaken to follow mindlessly the current politically correct and stridently advocated view that democracy is the precondition for economic development. I know it's a heresy in Harvard, Cambridge.
Did you hear that? He said it's a heresy of how Harvard became rich.
Yes.
Talking in front of Harvard now.
I'm telling you, right in front of them, telling them we know the games you've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What boldness are you talking about? Are we pausing here?
Yes.
My people, we asked the question, why is it that 60 years after Nigeria gained independence, we have not even begun? 40 years after Singapore gained independence, they could see where they are. It will not take you more than 60. You see, if we put the right thing in place, it will take us more than 6 months to know we're on the right path. This trial and error is all because people don't know what to do and they're criminals and all they want to do is steal. Look at the man's motivation. His motivation is not the same thing with our own. To get rid of colonialism and get true independence for our people. So why can't we learn from people's mistakes, learn what they have done, and begin to do the same thing? He spoke about stability and good governance. Is that not what we're looking for? Then he said you cannot have it except you have economic viability, except you have security. That will ensure the safety of lives and properties. There's no problem in this world that does not have solution. I'm telling you people. My people said it in their idiom. That there's no problem in this world. So, but if you're not putting the right solution to your problem, you will never get it solved. They did not allow Fulani terrorists to go around beheading people.
Beheading everyone and causing banditry and clashing with farmers and herders and all kind of stuff. And our educated professionals are there singing songs for them on Channel News.
Covering their eyes as if they did not see what is happening. They knew what their problems were and they started solving them one after the other, not deceiving themselves. They recognized they had many races, many religions, culture, languages, they had all that. They recognized them. They did not start deceiving themselves that they don't have them or start suppressing others. Oh, your cultural identity, you have to suppress it. Some people say, you are too erotic. You don't need to be erotic. You have to be outside or whatever. They recognized people's cultural differences and
integrated them into the system.
They did not start deceiving themselves, expecting that one day people will forget who they are. They did not do that. They faced reality. They followed integration, not assimilation. Not telling me to forget I'm an Igbo woman, I will never forget it. That is who I am. That's my DNA. Security meant ability to them, ability to defend themselves from all external aggressors and intruders. Not president's cousin. You have the cousin of your president running around, killing your people and beheading them. And you say you're talking about security? They were ready to eradicate corruption. But how can you eradicate corruption when the constitution that you are trying to build on is
the corruption itself?
Is the corruption itself. The constitution was not made by the people, it was imposed on the people. And the aim of the constitution was to steal the people's lands, their resources, and their waterways. Keep the people in perpetual poverty. And they begin to ask, why are criminals? Why do we have criminals everywhere? Oh, these people are criminals. But the people, you kept them in perpetual poverty. No job, no infrastructure, nothing. What do you expect? You heard what he said. He said, once a system is corrupted from the root, he said, the only solution that will deliver such a people is revolution. Let's stop deceiving our people. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. You don't know. Buhari, you don't know. Buhari, can you step aside and embrace the Nina's proposal that is on the table? All this running around will not help you. Where we are now is only revolution that will help us. Yep. No amount of politician, whatever campaign that you are doing will deliver you, because the more you patch, the more it will be leaking. Because you're taking a new material and trying to patch it to old material, you will get a bigger hole. Anna patch or no leak. Nigeria is Anna patch or no leak because you are not doing the right thing. Listen to Ninas. Listen to Ninas. Go and study. It will be good for everyone. Hausas, Igbos, Yorubas, Efik, Ijo, everyone is taken care of by that proposal. Go ahead, Sister Mona, please.
My final and most important decision was to prepare, or rather to plan and prepare for succession, and not leave it to chance. After 3 successful elections in 10 years, since we first won and took office in '59, my old guard colleagues and I were troubled by the caliber of the young men that we had been able to induct. They were the best of our political activists, our supporters, professionals, academics with PhDs, but they were not equal to the original team.
You can say that again.
My original team had been thrown up by the upheavals of the Second World War and were among the best of that generation. Those that didn't have it were knocked out by sheer elimination of events. Now we were not getting the best to volunteer to join us.
Volunteer, you say volunteer, please.
But how? Well, some people are natural alphas. Activists in their school days as school prefects, sport captains, or presidents of college societies. Alphas usually are extroverts with high energy levels. But as these school and college leaders grew older, many did not measure up.
Of course.
The valedictorian in school does not always make it after college.
Yep.
Few of those voted in college as most likely to succeed make it in the real world.
Few.
As they grow older, they need other qualities to stay as leaders. Higher levels of intellectual ability.
Yep.
A steady character. Judgment. A decision-making capability.
Yep.
That can win the confidence of those around them. 7 times from 1959 to 1990, before each election, I had to select 20 to 30 candidates who were likely to make good as ministers, but first as members of parliament, and then some as ministers. The easiest attribute to determine is intelligence. Performance in examinations, IQ tests, SAT scores, they give a fair indication of analytical ability. Many that we fielded with PhDs failed as ministers. They lacked something. When I learned from American corporate leaders that they use psychometric tests to recruit and promote their executives, I recall the epic flight of the 3 astronauts on Apollo 13. If you remember, their spaceship malfunctioned 3,000 miles out in space. Any false move and they would never return to Earth. They remained calm, collected throughout the ordeal, and trusting their fate to the men at ground control whose instructions they followed meticulously. I concluded that Master's psychological tests on the ground had successfully eliminated those who were prone to panic.
Great deal, my man, great deal.
I decided in 1980, therefore, to adopt their practice. And I had psychological and psychometric tests to help us assess the character of candidates, to weed out those who are not likely to succeed.
It's so fun that he's saying this. 99.999% of our people will not even pass this test. They won't even go past
all positions, right?
Almost all of them there, because this is why when some people are on the radio shouting, they don't know what they're doing. Oh, let's go and save them. Oh, no. They won't even know. Like, there is no way in hell they won't even be invited to take the test. Let me not even give them credit.
Yeah.
They will not be eligible to take the test.
Because they're so bastardized, everything is destroyed in their brain. They can't think critically. But I'll tell you, if my forefathers write that test in their language, they will pass it. Because it's all about critical thinking. You see, he did not leave this issue of his succession to chance. Oh, let's bring a Fulani INEC. Fulani INEC that has never done anything right. You want to leave the thing about governance of your people into their hands.
And people are getting ready to go for that election.
And people want to go into it again. Ask yourself, what has been happening for years? What has been happening for years? You are doing the wrong thing and expecting a different result. And you can see, degrees does not equate to steady character. And somebody has PhD, professor, does not mean that the character is good or that you can guarantee him as a good leader.
Good decision making.
Good decision making. PhD will not replace critical thinking. It will not.
In Igbo language, it's called Anya Lelele na Anya Roraro.
I'm telling you, what happens when this happens? What happens when you will have to have sense to be able to do it? But we've had the wrong people leading us. There's leadership vacuum in Nigeria and in Africa. That's why we're getting the results we're getting. That's why the things are the way they are. It is no brainer. It's not something that you go and start getting a pastor to prophesy for you to know where things have gone wrong. We've had leadership vacuum. The people leading us, look at people like Okorocha. If you have a company and you want to function like a good, like want to get results, there's no corruption. Somebody like Okorocha cannot manage your company. I told people, I said, why is it that there's only stupid people that are rich in Nigeria? Because things are not right. You have to be corrupt to make money. If you're not corrupt, you will never get to anywhere.
I'm willing to kill too.
I'm willing to kill and destroy things. That is why it is that the people are dying and few people are becoming billionaires and millionaires. If things are right, it will not be few millionaires that we have in Nigeria. We will have our children everywhere performing and doing wonders. Why is it that it's only when our children get out of Nigeria that they become who God has called them to be? Why? Because Nigeria will kill them, destroy every resources that will make them a human being. Few criminals will take it, share it among themselves and say that they are rich, they are billionaires. The only reason you are rich in Nigeria, let me say it again. The only reason you are rich in Nigeria, stinkingly rich, is because you're stealing from the masses.
Yep.
That's it. There is no equity and fairness. You church leaders, the only reason you're making the type of money you're making in Nigeria in the midst of poverty of my people is because you're all criminals. Stop stealing. Let's put things so there'll be fair play. Everybody will become comfortable. That's what we're asking. That's what we're fighting for. We want everyone to become comfortable. Everyone might not be billionaires, but everyone will become comfortable. If they need hospital, they will get it. If they need school, they will get it. If they need road, they will get it. If they need water, electricity. All these things are basic things in the community. But the fact that we don't have it and we are so rich as a country, it shows that people are stealing our resources. And those that are stealing inside are the ones opening doors for those outside. So they are partners. That's the only reason. You don't need anything to tell you what is going on. Go ahead, Sister Mona, please.
But they couldn't help us. They couldn't tell us who was likely to succeed. The prospect of failure forced us to talent spot. After a high attrition rate at the beginning, we improved our selection methods. We threw candidates into the deep end of the pool to test their political skills. Finally, I was concerned that the government machinery of the 31 years had been customized to suit my work style. So I made a conscious effort in my last 2 years to make room for my successor so that he can reconfigure the arrangements. So when a new guard of men in their 40s and 50s took over in 1990, there was no crushing of gears, and instead, in the 1990s, Singapore has repeatedly been rated by Transparency International in Berlin among the top 7 least corrupt countries in the world, the least corrupt in Asia.
Well done.
And we have not become decadent and corrupt after 41 years in office. The old guard set high standards because they were brought up that way. The new guards have been able to maintain the self-discipline and integrity in the midst of growing affluence. Our judiciary and the rule of law are rated by the World Economic Forum and the Institute of Management and Development in Geneva, and PERC, which is a rating agency in Hong Kong, as the best in Asia. It commands the respect of the people and of our investors. And Singapore is ranked by WEF and IMD as the second most competitive nation in the world after the United States. They say I do not listen to my opponents. I do, when they are serious opponents.
Not when they are stupid.
We studied all those items where we were rated poorly, and we set out to do better.
You don't have time to listen to
We
stupid people.
practiced lifelong learning before it became a buzzword.
Lifelong learning.
What were the basic strengths that made this possible? A basic idealism and an integrity that drives the whole system. But new forces are at work. The present leaders grew up in a Singapore that was stable and growing year by year. People have got accustomed to the comforts of a modern, affluent society and expect life to be better every year. Opinion polls are becoming a regular feature of public life. Leadership has been reduced to the shaping of a policy so that somehow it would be able to carry the majority. And if not the majority, then the plurality, in the hope that it will expand into a majority by the next election. I view this with mixed feelings as a totally different way from what I used to do. In the 1960s, strikes, demonstrations, disorder, and violence threatened our existence. People faced dire choices. Leaders had to lead, make bold decisions, and act swiftly. Only later did I have to convince the people to support our decisions. For example, I had to carry out a campaign to win a referendum to take Singapore into Malaysia. But when bloodshed threatened and the Malaysian government wanted Singapore to be out, I did not. Indeed, I could not hold a referendum and consult the people before I took them out.
Because they have a sound leader.
Disaster. I took the decision, persuaded my cabinet colleagues to sign the separation agreement with me, and embarked on independent Singapore. To build a more stable Singapore, I did not discuss nor ask our different races whether they like to live integrated together in new high-rises. The squatter huts. I knew what the answer was going to be. They wanted to stay together. And would that be good for us? The British had allowed them to be segregated in Malay villages, Chinese quarters, and an Indian enclave because it was easier to rule such groups of people separate
divide and conquer.
Race, language, and religion. We had to form a nation, or try to. So my colleagues and I decided that the people would ballot for their apartments. And they would have Chinese, Malays, Indians, Eurasians, and others as their neighbors. We did not seek their consent. For the first few years, they were not comfortable. After 10 years, it became a way of life. We did the same in the schools. Children used to be segregated into Malay, Chinese, Indian, and English language schools. Slowly and gradually, I persuaded parents to register their children for schools that use English and the mother tongue as a second language. And when they did so, their children graduated into the best jobs. Now we have schools with all races in mixed classrooms, and integration has become a fact of life. The business of government can be executed effectively only by people's representatives, exercising their judgments based on their mandate. The people had given me a mandate to join Malaysia on fair terms. When the Prime Minister of Malaysia was fearful of a bloodbath, I exercised my judgment to separate without consulting the people. So also racial integration in housing and schooling was part of my mandate given in elections every 5 years that I won. The difference between the old guard and the new guard leaders are stark, reflecting the differences between the old society and the new. The old society was a revolutionary situation. People felt that everything, including their lives, were at stake.
I like the way he keeps mentioning integration.
And it's so important now. You cannot lead the people if you do not work with them, get them integrated, and then because the people know what they want. And I made out to sell it like good market sells itself. And you see how he said, the failure of African countries. Because we tell people are watching you, they see what you're doing, they know that what you're doing will never yield the type of result you're going for. He said that leaders were abiding with theory of socialism and state enterprises. Is that not what they're doing? Misallocation of resources. People can see it now. However, we need to maintain social order and uphold rule of law. Do you have rule of law in Nigeria? They need to educate their people. He knew that they needed to educate their people. Not Fulanis that are running inside forest. And also children that are busy begging on the streets. Babi Allah. How do you want to get any meaningful development with all that? Now you need to maintain peace in order to attract investors and create jobs. Is it not simple and straightforward? It's common sense. It's common sense. We're asking our people, so what is the way forward? This video is on their platform. You can watch it in its entirety because we break it down for you to understand where we're going. We are going, like we keep saying, work is going on the ground. We are here to explain to you so that this is part of the integration we are doing. Try to carry our people along, explain and teach things to them so that we understand. Please share these things to your politicians. Share this video to your church leaders, all of them, because their brain, we need to teach their brain. There's a video that Samuna will play for us about former Governor Donald Duke. The only reason we are playing that video is because we want to take back our resources. If you don't know your resources, you won't know what to take it back. Because the only reason Buhari and his people are borrowing is because they're stupid. We have resources in Nigeria. I've always said it in classes here when I was doing my master's. I'll tell them the problem in Nigeria is not problem of resources. We have resources. It's management of resources.
We are still wealthy till today. But the only reason Buhari will continue to borrow is because he is very stupid. I said it. Yes, tell him I said it. He is stupid because he doesn't know what to do. And him and APC, all of them, they don't know what to do. And they are busy sinking our people more and more into evil. Somebody wrote here and said that Nigeria is evil forest, not democracy. We want to make the world a better place for indigenous peoples. That's what Ninas wants to do. We want to make our people live in a better world, like Singapore did. So watch this video and see, just for you to understand. We'll continue, but for you to understand that we have enough resources. As of today, we still have enough resources to get Nigeria out of the, no, not Nigeria, Nigerians. We are here for Nigerians, not dead Nigeria. Nigeria is dead. It's thinking, it's dead. But we want to deliver Nigerians. And we still have enough resources to get that done, if the right things are done.
This is a nation that flares 2.5, or used to, until recently, flared 2.5 billion cubic feet of gas a day. And we did that for over 30 years. Today, they say we're flaring 750 cubic feet of gas that we've reinjected it and all that. But why are you rejecting the gas? Gas is energy. You're flaring it. Why don't you clean it up, pipe it, distribute it to every nook and
No, the world will stop.
And let that be a subsidy to industry. Kano used to be the second largest industrial sector center after Lagos. Kano is dead. Why? No energy. But you're flaring gas. That's energy. The same country that liquefies this gas and sends it abroad to earn income. What do you think that they're doing with the gas you send abroad there? It's the same energy they're looking for. So let's call a spade a spade. We are dumb. Is any white guy here? No. Okay. If I were a white guy, I would never believe I'm equal to you. That's the truth. Because it's not an award. Just because we walk on the streets, we breathe the same air, we have limbs and all that, doesn't mean equality. Even chimpanzees walk, they breathe and all that. Because it is stupid. You flare the gas. But some other folks come and tell you, hey, give us this gas, we'll pay you for it. And you're happy to say you're in train 1, train 7, we're in train 9 of the gas, but you're flaring yours. So why not it'll cost us $5 billion to build pipelines that would ensure that there's gas. 5,000, it's about $1 million per kilometer. 5,000 kilometers of pipelines around this country. Wherever you are, you're not far from gas. And that, believe me, give the gas free for industry. If you're going to grow this economy at 15%, you've got to do some very radical things. The second thing is this. Here you are with incredible unemployment ratios, and interest is 30%, 25%. Are you mad?
They are mad.
You don't want to grow the economy. That's what they're telling the people. You have countries like Japan that is zero. Literally subsidizing. And you're doing it 25%. Right? Yeah, you know, Sugar, don't call me to these sort of things again. You know, you have a bankrupt government that borrows to survive. It crowds, it pays the banks.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah. Please, he said we are dumb. Starting from your political leaders, your church leaders, all of you, we are dumb. And when you accept that you are dumb, we begin to give you some sense. So please, we want to stop being dumb. And we're hearing a lot of people clamoring now for a new constitutional order, a new constitutional arrangement for Nigeria, away from the fraud called 1999 Constitution. That's the first step to show that you are not dumb. So anybody that is still wanting to go into election with 1999 Constitution in place is dumb. I said it. Tell the person that Daughters of Two said he is dumb. She is dumb. And white man will not discuss with you. The only reason they discuss with some of you is because they want to steal from us.
Yep.
Some of them are beginning to understand that the years of stealing has created terrorism, and that terrorism is coming.
In full force too, right in front of your door.
Yes. That's why they are now listening to LNC meanings. That's why they are getting interested, getting into meetings with us and negotiations to know what to do, because that problem is going to spread everywhere. So if you go to them and you're still talking about 1999 Constitution, they know you are dumb. As they're looking at you, they're like I said, look at another monkey. He has come again. So we can hear last week something was published. The Nigerian Budget Office finally admitted that Nigeria has broken down under the current unworkable unitary constitution order.
Cheerful.
Yes, and must, as a matter of urgency, be reconstituted. That is federal government speaking. That is our brother. What do we call his name? I've forgotten the name they call me. He's the deputy. He's the Director General of Budget Office. You see, this office is in charge. They are the ones that recruit money, like get funds for federal government. It's their work. Their work is to go and get money. The task of raising funds for federal government. They are the ones saying this. So if they're saying it, that means that federal government is already agreeing with what Ninas is saying. That if you do not get a new constitutional arrangement for Nigeria, Nigeria is dead and broken.
Yep.
It's over. As if that is not enough, our brother Naba, he published something on Punch. He said 1999 Constitution is obsolete. That's December 5th, 2020. It was published. The former Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, that's Omar Gali Naba. People will know him. I don't know some of them. That means that Nina's constitutional force majeure is the only way that will provide the most viable framework for immediate reconfiguration for all sides, especially the trapped constituents, the indigenous peoples that are seeking for self-determination. There's problem everywhere because people are seeking for self-determination. So Ninas has gone ahead with the repudiation of that fraudulent 1999 Constitution that was done on the 16th of December 2020. Somebody is thinking, some people are thinking, and they've been working
ahead.
Are thinking ahead and knowing that, see, this road that you're going, the end, you're going to crash. There's no outlets.
Yes, no.
Some places where you're driving here, they will put signboard for you, say no outlets. So some people that use their own school fees to pay school fees, not that they use it to buy akara. Some lawyers that went to law school to study law and open their brain. Not they went there to chase women. And then when they finish, they can say, I'm a barrister. You're a barrister and you don't know that the 1999 Constitution is fraud and that it cannot produce.
It's unimaginable. It's unimaginable.
And you cannot produce anything from a country that is built on a fraudulent constitution. You don't know that as a lawyer? And you call yourself son? I hear one from English, from Yoruba land. I don't know their names. When he's speaking, pray. I look at him, I just say, hey, whoa, Tony Nadi has exposed all of you. Because Barrister Tony Nadi has made some of us to become emergency lawyers overnight. You are reading what
and we can tell your stupidity, whether you have Harvard around the name or Oxford or whatever, or you have pictures taken with the Queen. We know how stupid you are, even through your glasses.
Exactly. So when they're talking, we're like, wow, see another stupid one, he has come. So please stop your stupidity. The joint multi-regional constitutional force majeure by Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination has opened up for you. They are providing the only viable peaceful framework for immediate reconfiguration of the defunct Federation of Nigeria. This is what you need to embrace.
Do they have a choice? They're going for a nosedive.
Part of that thing you need to embrace, because when you understand what it means, you will know that the first step in that orderly decommission of the 1999 Constitution, the first step, the first thing you need to do is to halt the preparations for another round of national elections in 2023
with immediate
under that Constitution.
close shop.
That's the first step you need to take. So if you now understand, because some people say, okay, we need new Constitution, we need this. If you now know that you know, okay, you now understand. The first step you need to take that will make us know that you're not dumb is to understand that you need to stop all your preparation.
There's no need for it.
All your preparation towards 2023, because there's no way. You cannot tell us, oh, now I accept that we need a new Constitution, and you're preparing for 2023 election. It does not make sense.
Or you're forming a new political party.
Exactly, and you're forming a new political. It shows up that you are dumb. Yes. I'm not abusing you. It is description. You are agreeing that the Constitution is fraudulent. Rather than now work towards bringing it down and doing things the right way, you say you are preparing election for 2023. What does that show? It shows that you don't have anything inside head now. That's what it shows. Or maybe, okay, maybe you're not a Tiboy, but you're a criminal. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's more appropriate.
So you're a criminal. You're fraudulent. You're coming to steal from my people again. You spent 8 years taking my people around, say you did sensitization. Now you want to form APC political party for my people. When I rate the criminal Ojono Obwoje, I think your own criminality is even worse than his own.
Yep.
Please stop these things that you people are doing. It's for your own good, though. Not that we're waiting for you. We don't need you, because this project, we don't need the Tibolibos to execute them. And by Tibolibo, we mean people that cannot think critically, not people that didn't go to school. There are some of our brothers and sisters on ground that we are discussing with that didn't go to school, man, but they're intelligent. They are smart. They can think critically. When we talk, they tell us this. So if this is like this, that means this is like this. I say, yep, brother, yep, sister, you got it. So my brothers and sisters in the village that didn't go to school, stop allowing them to deceive you with English. We told them they don't have a proposal on the table. They went and copied some things and say, I don't know what they thought they wrote to. I say, your stupidity is even worse than I imagined. Please share this thing to them. Share this video. Share this teaching to them, to politicians, to church leaders, and fraudulent freedom fighters. Share to them. Maybe they will receive sense. Because if they don't receive sense, it is them that it will hit, not us. We are doing our due diligence by doing our own part by explaining to you what is being done, for you to understand what is being done. Work is going on, with or without you, because this work.
And that is the beauty of what we are doing. That is the beauty of what we are doing. Yes.
We don't need criminals to execute this work.
You're shouting on the radio every day.
Shouting on the radio and saying what you don't know. Meanwhile, you're criminally minded. We don't need them to execute this work. That's why they keep running away. They come and meet Tony Nadi. They will run away because the system is too clean for you to corrupt. It's still, when something is so perfectly done, when you come inside to corrupt it, it's difficult. That is why you can't see politicians coming around us. Because when they come, there's no way they can corrupt it. So when they hit the proposal, they fall apart. That proposal, the Nina's proposal, has become like the rock. If you hit it, you crush. If it falls on you, if you hit it, you break. If it falls on you, you'll be crushed.
Yep.
Because it is the people's proposal. It's the heart of the people.
There's no room for corruption.
There's no room for corruption. And that's why corrupt people cannot find a place in it. Some of them, we talk to them, explain it 2 hours to them. When they finish, you see them going connect to that side. because they are looking for immediate gain. They have seen that there's no space in this thing, making space. There's no space in it for them to steal from the people. So they run away.
Or deceive the people.
But those of us that are here to give, that the people might be free. That's why we are with the proposal. Because we don't want to put our money in something that we fail. We are sacrificing, using the money that we used to buy earring and buy necklace and buy gold. We are putting it into the project. That's the first time that shows you that somebody is committed to what he's doing. That somebody is a stakeholder in a plan on the table. Because we are putting our money and we are monitoring it. We are not throwing money inside and going to sleep and say, I don't know what they're doing. No, I gave it to them. I don't know what they're doing. That means you're not committed.
Very stupid.
If you put your money in something, you must ask questions to know how it's being done and know what needs to be done. Okay, you are here now. When are you going to the next stage? Okay, what will it take us to get to the other place? Okay, we need to amount. It's okay.
Yeah, you have vested interest.
Yes, you have vested interest. It's as simple as that. That's why we brought this Singapore something for you people to see. That has been done before. We are not the first. Singapore was a third world country. Underdeveloped, very underdeveloped, even below where we were. But in 40 years, see where they are. And you're going there to go and do business. But after 60 years, we are here deceiving ourselves because we are criminals. Those are not criminals, are dumb. But if you can get the dumb people to begin to think, then
or accept the notion that you just don't know and remove yourself.
Exactly.
You don't have to speak.
No,
you don't have to speak. If you don't have what it takes to get the job done, accept that and move on and start working from your neck of the do the one you can do. Who are you leading when you can't lead yourself?
Blind
we keep reminding you people here, if you cannot manage your wife and 2 kids, who are you to manage communities and nations and any other thing? You can manage now one room with a wife and 2 or 3 children. You're not able to manage it. You will force apart.
There's chaos everywhere. You can't manage that.
But you want to come out and assign yourself position and start giving orders as if you're somebody. Are you guys kidding me? Go and deliver the baby in your stomach first. Eh? Men are not supposed to be pregnant. Give birth first. Madam or shake or mother not gonna have. Then we'll move. Maybe enough blood will start flowing to your brain so you can have enough perfusion to understand what we're saying. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
This being ignorant is so bad. I threw one of one parliament people that we are fighting. I threw it in a place. A medical doctor told me, it's normal for parliament fighting. A medical doctor, not the one that just graduated yesterday, the one that is up, he has gone up. I say, wow, if the educated, the so-called elites are thinking this way, no wonder the country is in a mess. If the elites are blind, the people that ought to lead the people are blind, dumb, and stupid, how do you expect another result? And that's what we're telling our people, please wake up. Wake up, please. You can do this job. You don't need degree, doctor degree, PhD, professor. You don't need it. All you need is just sincerity,
survival instinct, and
yes,
and sincerity. There you go.
Because the thing about my people is that if they don't know it, they are smart enough to say, Mom, I don't know how to do it, so come and do it for me. But these criminals, these criminal elites, they don't know it, but they use English to bamboozle us. And we want to speak to our women. Please wake up. We know in the time past, they made the politics and all these things to be about fighting, physical strength. That's why you all shy away, because you just don't want trouble. And you see now, our children are dying. These people are messing up everywhere. Can't you see it?
They want them to die so they can sleep with 20 of them at the same time.
Exactly.
To another one. What do you mean?
Exactly. You can't accept this anymore.
A country where you have access to 1 million women at the same time, you think that's normal?
It's not normal. It cannot be normal. They make you to have to leave these politicians, you have to feed from them. It's not right. Your right has been taken away. Please, our women, please, make it to wake up. It's not okay that when you want to do a business or do something, you have to get money from a politician after he has slept with you. It's not right. It's not right. We want you to be in a position where you'll be able to work, go to work, get the money you need to take care of your children and yourself without having to sleep with anybody. That's what we want to take it to. Because you do have
you'll be helping the men. They will stop, blood flow will start going up here instead of down here.
Exactly.
This will change around.
So once the women are able to put themselves in place, like the ancient women that were before, our men will be in order. That's why we're calling on the daughters of the land. You know yourself. Things are happening in your neighborhood. We've not announced it here physically, but it's going on. People are working with us. Because we know that when daughters of the land arise, the children will arise. Our husbands will arise. Because we are the mothers of the land. We are the ones that give birth and populate the earth. So we understand what it means to preserve life and properties. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. We say, send us your information, your name, your blog, your gender, so that we can put you in the group you belong. If you want to be part of what we're doing. Work is going on. We have more work on the ground than on social media. Just that we don't announce what we're doing so much in details because we don't want our people that are on ground working to be endangered. Please come up, get informed, share this video at least. Share this to your politicians, to your church leaders. They should stop watching AIT, what's that channels? All those people that lie to them, BBC, CNN. No, those ones will lie to you and make you to remain stupid. Watch a program like this, even if it's 2 hours. When you watch, stop. Watch, stop. And there's some clubhouses. I hear people setting up clubhouses. I say thank you for those of you trying to set up, I can't call your names. You're setting up clubhouses and bringing our people in to educate them. Some are talking on religion. Some are talking on different things to make our people understand. Thank you. Kudos. Because information is power. We are multi-regional. We have, religious. It's acceptable. But what we're saying is that if your religion is not improving your personality, if your religion is not improving your community, if your religion is not improving the nation, that the more churches you build, the more evil is in the land, there is a question mark in that religion. Or your religion is teaching you to go and cut off people's heads. There's a question mark in that religion. And it's your responsibility to make it right. It's your responsibility to tell your imam, your church leaders, your bishop, your priest, our land is stinking. There is no God in our land. Because if God is God, God cannot live in a land where there is unfairness, where there is equity, where there's what? Injustice. When people are not, poor people are not being taken care of. There's no God that dwells in that type of land. Even the God of our forefathers, the one our forefathers worship. Any type of God that is God, no matter why you're worshiping him, if that God had to live in a land where is injustice, where there is unfairness, where the poor are stolen from, the poor are destroyed, the orphans, the widows, the fatherless are not taken care of. That type of religion is not from God. It's from the devil. We need to take away that type of religion. We want to build a new society for our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know they are ready. That's the good news about all of this. We don't have to wait 40 years to see the outcome that we desire. We just need to understand what we need to do, and we'll get there. We are that smart. One way or that we have left, we have that level of smartness left. So follow what works. Stop deceiving yourself. Stop running around with people that will not get you where you're going. People that want to be relevant because they think this is all it's all about, to feel like they are part of what is going on when they have nothing to offer to our people. You always wonder where people will gather the what is the English language, the audacity to destroy our people for so many years, and now you want to lead them to go where? You're not even, you should be in a doghouse. Around America, there's a place called doghouse for people that are not behaving well. But no, you came out of your doghouse and think you have to lead them to another mayhem because your name is destruction. Anyway, we've gone past 2 hours. I've posted our link if you want to join. If not, we call it a day. Our purpose here is to actually to engage you guys, but we see that the information is so high level that people just don't know what to say. Maybe it's overwhelming, I don't know. If you want to contribute, please call the number on the screen, +17743380942. If you want to add, sort of contain your comments to the topic on table, because we have to go home. We have to go home. These things can be done. Constitutional force majeure is coming up, anniversary is coming up very soon. It's coming up very soon. So this is a way, an opportunity now for you to engage if you weren't engaged before. We talked about this for a whole year. And the sad part about all of this is that you are the people holding yourself down. We've given you the proposal on the table. Read the proposal so that you will know what to do and get your freedom. People are running around. They would rather carry fake stories or demonic stories or people doing all kinds of stuff, when all you have to do is to walk towards your freedom so that we can go home. And then in the comfort of your own home, if you want to watch a Barakata Aba movie in your house, you could. But what do my people do? They don't watch anything that will get them to where they're going. You're the one holding yourself down. You're the one that does not understand that by now we should be saying close shop. Some people are asking, oh, let's go to referendum, when they don't know what self-determination. These are the educated ones. When the information is out there, I don't even know how else to go about doing all of these things for you. And we want to take this opportunity to thank those that do understand and doing the work. Those that understand what it takes to get us to our freedom. And thank God, as we're doing this work, God is doing his part. We are not stressed. We are hoping that other good men and women will come on board and do the needful for our people to get the same kind of life that we are enjoying in diaspora. Anything else to say? We can round up.
Yeah, you said it all. Our people need to wake up, because we know they're able to do this job, but you need to understand, you need to be informed, because we don't want blind people leading sighted people anymore. Is anyone calling?
Yes. Okay. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, my sisters, for another inspiring presentation. So, I mean, everything that has been, you guys have presented and continue to present, yes, I strongly believe that every one of us knows and understands that there's a problem in our land. So there's no doubt about that. I guess the problem is everyone trying to, solve the problem, but going about it in a different way. Some are not actually the right way, but because everybody wants to be relevant, they want to, continue on what they are doing without stopping and thinking, wait a minute, why have we not, achieved everything? So we have to, let's reassess. Let's do some reassessment to see where we are getting it wrong. And also see what others are doing and make some adjustments, even if it means working with them. So everybody just wants to continue on their path, whether it makes sense or not. And that's a big problem, and that's a big setback. In Jos, they have electricity. They have almost 24/7 electricity. you're doing, but is it working? If it's not working, please love your, just for humanity, for the sake of humanity, come back and do some reassessment and see what others are doing. We are holding ourselves back, and the more we are doing this divided and just trying, it's about position, it's about what do I get out of this, and we continue to be in that. Singapore, look at it. So let's try to emulate good faith, not just running to Dubai, running to Singapore. Any opportunity, we are there. But what happened to our own home? We have the resources there, but mismanagement, unaccountability, nonchalant attitude, unpatriotism, build our self-hate. We need to improve. So I implore you guys, thank you, my sisters. I would say keep up the good job. We are here, and we are not going anywhere. But I'm telling our brothers and sisters out there, we love you guys, and we are mothers. So we love you guys. So we are not saying we don't, you guys are stupid in that aspect, but it's just because we want you guys to just understand what is at stake. Thank you, my sister, for this opportunity. And God bless you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. We bless. Is there another call? Okay. So we thank you. We thank our sisters. We thank people that are listening and watching. We don't have time. Our people are dying. Seriously. When you see what is going on back home, you know that we don't even have time to dilly-dally. We don't even have time to go around in circles. We don't have time for trial and error. We would have done the trial and error 60 years ago. So today, like we said at the introduction, we are speaking to every man, every person, everywhere. Stop deceiving yourselves. You know the truth. In your meetings, you just sit down, talk for 6 hours. Now, sir, stop it. Follow what works. If you have a key, I told people have a key. You see this key? You can't, if you change these things here, it won't work. It won't open the door. So there's nothing like, oh, you are trying this and trying that. Oh, what will work, what no. And Nina's is not doing some aspect of the job. The Nina's proposal will take care of all the job. It's not half and half. It's a well thought out plan. And we employ our people to go and study it. However, work is going on. I was just reading the text sent to me by one of our fathers in Yoruba land. Somebody contacted us recently and wanted to talk to him. So he was giving me feedback that these are independent people that want solution for what is going on. And you can see that chasing our people out. And everywhere they're chasing, they're calling them Nigerians. Oh, in Britain, there's a place at the Czechs or something. They are trying to set our people. So those that are thinking right know that we need a befitting home. We need a home to go to. It's like when they did Ghana Must Go from Nigeria. They sent out Ghana and they needed to go home. So our people are contacting us. The honest ones, the dishonest ones, the criminals in our midst. You are stupid. No apologies. Do you hear what was just said? You are stupid for being dishonest at a very critical time like this. Yes, we said it. We said you are stupid. Go and report me to who you want to report me. And you're wicked as well, not just stupid. Yeah, how can you see my people dying? And there is a plan on the table to deliver them. 3 times. They have explained this plan to you. You understand it. Not that you don't understand it. But you will move my people to go around into forest because my people are trying to connect. And you want me to come here and clap for you? Sorry, I cannot clap for you. And I don't have any apology for it. You are very stupid for thinking that you can play with the intelligence of my people. I can't call your name. That's the only respect I can give you. But you know yourself. Is that somebody calling?
Yes.
Okay, please go.
Call out your name and where you're calling from. Go ahead, caller. Hello. 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 This is Nigerian call. No, nothing works.
Eventually, when we get to the nation, we will deal with our multitude people. There's no place, even in your Bible, when you read your Bible, that God wants to deliver a land and use multitude. Because in multitude, you have the blind, the criminal, the thief, the criminals. That's why God does not work with multitudes. But he selects, he said, I seek for a man. He selects few honest, sincere people. Look at it now. If you have criminals that are working the project, they will destroy it. They will ruin it. That's why we say we don't want criminals in what we're doing. We want sincere, truthful people. Please, it's that simple. Because when you have criminals, they would discourage the people that came out to work with all their mind. That's the issue about having criminals in your midst. If you have dishonest people, they will discourage the few people that came out to work. That's why it's important. Please, Mona, when you get anyone, I will stop.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect them. Okay, call out your name and where you're calling from. Caller, can you? Yeah, caller, go ahead. Hello. Hello. Okay, this wasn't meant to be. We've already spent over 2 hours here. That's fine. You know, that's the thing. We know a lot of our people are watching, but you would never see their names on here, and they would like to contribute and all. But it is what it is. So please watch the video, share. Definitely share it out to the criminal politicians that we have parading as leaders that have been leading us into hell all along, and then leading their children to Harvard and all the westernized countries for them to live their best lives. So until next week, we'll see you guys. We thank you for not missing words. We are not here to apologize to idiots. We are not here to apologize to people wasting our people's time as if 10 years and 12 years is not enough to wander in the wilderness. If you see what works and you're not trying to promote it amongst your people, then you have yourself to blame, nobody else, you know. So I don't know about you, Sister Choma, you can apologize. I'm not apologizing for anybody wasting time when my people are being killed on a daily basis. I don't know, there's nothing for me to apologize. It's only easy when it's not your son or your daughter. Because I bet if you are a well-being mother in the village that have lost your son to criminality, I don't think you'll be using the same words. But of course, when your children are in a safe place, it's okay for you to offer grace to mercy to criminals that are delaying the process, doing things that doesn't work, taking us in a merry-go-round, knowing the cost of that action. And it doesn't sit well with me. So brothers and sisters, we'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Love you. Bye.